is what's going to come. So if you need to get yourself in a different mindset so that you can start to attract the life that you want, let's first start with inside. Let's remove our focus from the 3D and let's start to say, whatever I want is going to come from me, inside of me. I want you to fully understand that, because the thing about manifestation or getting your desires, or I call it just living your life and getting whatever you want, because it's not really a trying process. It's all just life. So to get that, you have to have a certain level of certainty and act in a certain way. You have to literally act in adjacent to how you want life to be. You can't wait for life to become something and then say, oh my gosh, this thing finally arrived. Now I'm going to, because so long ago, I used to really wait for the stars to align. I would wait for the right moment. I would wait for the thing to be perfect timing. And then when I looked back on my life, I'm like, well, when have I ever really waited for anything? When is waiting for something made it better? When has it ever helped me to wait on the perfect moment? And I had to realize that even when I thought I was waiting for the perfect moment, I was actually making the right moment for myself. So I talked about this before on my channel, and I want to hammer it a little bit more, that you have to have certainty in the thing you want. You alone. Unfortunately, everybody on this planet has their own life. And if you don't get the life you want, that's up to you. So, this is information that I use for my own self. I have one-on-one clients that I legitimately speak to about their money problems, money solutions, or their life in general, moving their wealth consciousness forward. And when I talk to them, I am so embodied in what I talk about that I feel an extra sense of confidence when I talk about certainty and desire, because I live it every single day. So I have no problem telling my one-on-one clients or anyone who's in Money Consciousness community membership. And if you want to get in that community, the free version is linked in my YouTube homepage already. And when people are in those different containers with me, I feel nothing about telling them about certainty and decision making, because that is what's brought me everything. When I look back on my life and I'm like, well, have I gotten anything from just, thinking about it or wanting it or what? Never, ever, 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 never have I ever. Maybe I have once. I'm just kidding. But I don't remember. I can't recall any time I've gotten anything from not deciding. Decision is the first step. So if you're waiting for your reality to somehow shook and jive, and then you get whatever you want while you sit on your behind on a couch or on your bed just waiting for it to happen, it's not going to happen. When I was a spiritual person that couldn't figure out how to make money, I think it's so funny. You don't understand the stages until you've actually gone through them, but that's what that stage is called. And now I see people in that same stage where you're a spiritual person, you want to make more money, you don't want to work a 9-to-5, or you want something bigger for your life, or you want a business, etc., etc., etc. And then you just don't understand the part that's necessary, which is the certainty part, the decision-making part. That is the only thing you need. And I commented on someone's post. I have this protein shake in my hand. Put that down. But I commented on someone's post on TikTok, and they were talking about, certainty and desire and stuff, and they replied to my comment. And I'm just like, it's really the only key. Certainty and decision making is the only key. You can't get anything from not deciding. You have to decide first. You have to decide, this is what I want. And then you do decisions based on what you've decided. So if you decide, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, well, now you have to make decisions that align with that? Well, you probably change the way you eat. You probably change the way you go to the gym. You probably change the way you feel about yourself. You probably start saying positive affirmations. You probably get in contact with people that are going through the same thing to get a community that can help you and raise up your vibration whenever you feel like you're low. Like if you actually decided that you wanted to do that, you would take more steps or different steps than the one you're currently taking. And I want you to understand that. So let's talk about money, right? Because this channel is about money. We're not about I sometimes give examples of about fitness or about relationships, but really the channel is solely for money. So let's give a money example. When you want to quit your job, I want you to answer this question. Who is going to send the resignation letter for you? Who is going to apply for another job for you? Who's going to start that business for you? Who's going to start the LLC for you? Who's going to do the thing it takes to make money for you? Nobody but you. And it starts by having a desire. And when it comes to money, like when I was a spiritual person, I couldn't figure out how to make money. I was talking to my mentor. She's still my mentor now. Still in her coaching. But she would tell me are you actually sure you want to make money? Because when I look at your social media, I don't see any cohesive topics. I don't see any transformation you can give anybody. I don't see anything that's actually helpful. I don't see anything that's if I wanted to go buy something from you, I don't even know how I would do that because everything's just so confusing and convoluted and it just doesn't make sense. And you're telling me that you have a way that you want to make money, but you don't though. And it comes through awareness of a decision, because if I decided and I fully decided that I was going to make money without a 9-to-5, I would have had a different, would have had to make different decisions. I would have spoke differently. I would have talked differently. I would have set up my business in a different way. I would have actually had a way for someone to pay me. But when you're not making decisions, actually deciding, I'm kind of not certain that I actually think I can make money outside of a 9-to-5, then that's when you start doing things that don't make sense. You start feeling like you have a product, but you actually don't have anything to sell. And it sounds so oxymoronic, but it's true. You will literally think that you're doing the right thing, and somebody who's already been on that side of that planet, on that side of that journey, has already crossed over. Now they're can't you see that you're not doing the thing? You're not doing that thing. You're actually not doing anything. The thing that you think you're doing is not what you're doing. And so that's also why coaching and mentoring is so good, because we can't see our blind spots. We're the only people that can't see us. And so while some people think, oh, I'm not going to pay a person to tell me blah, 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 but I would. And that's probably why I have the life that I have. So you have to make certain decisions, but it comes from certainty. So let's break this down. If you don't have certainty about the thing that you think you can do or actually accomplish, you're never going to make the decisions that actually align with being able to have that thing. And because you think you're certain, but you're not, you're blind to all the things that you actually aren't really doing, all the decisions you're really not making, all the things you think you're doing. You're convincing yourself that you're doing the right thing, and you're just not. You're just not. And so I love looking at my one-on-one clients' businesses and saying, there's a blind spot here, there's a blind spot there, there's a blind spot here. And they're just oh my gosh, how are you able to see that? How are you able to see behind all those things? And I'm I've already been there. I've already been there where I think I'm doing everything right and I'm literally not. I think I know what I'm doing and I'm not doing the right thing. I think I want money, but I really don't. I can see that because I done it. That's the only reason. And so when you're certain on something, I talked about this in Money Consciousness Community. I made a post about it. And that's the free community. The link is in my YouTube homepage. Just that if you're decided on doing something, you're going to make very different decisions than a person who's not fully decided. And so maybe that first step is actually getting decided. Maybe that first step is actually getting a goal that's achievable. And a lot of the times we tell ourselves things aren't achievable because we're under the assumption that we have to do 100% of the work. Your responsibility is to contribute, and God's responsibility is to make it happen. Like, that was the promise. We're not unlimited. We're not omnipresent. We're not all powerful. We're one individual human as part of billions of people collectively that make a consciousness. So what stupidness would it even be for me to think, well, I want to make $10,000, but I got to do it all on my own. Well, you're going to fail every single time because subconsciously your body already knows that you're part of a consciousness and you can't do anything on your own. So you're actually setting yourself up for failure by setting goals that are too big for yourself and also giving yourself way too much responsibility. Now, if you said, I'm going to set up a business that could likely make me $10,000, or I'm going to set up a business that could bring me clients or views or whatever, that's more attainable because you can actually do that. You can actually set up a business. You can actually do that yourself. Now, can you get yourself to get the $10,000? You could through lack, but not through abundance. Because if you're going to get it from abundance, you're going to get it from God. If you're going to get it from lack, you're going to get it from your hard work. And we work higher, not harder. We don't work smart and we don't work hard. We work higher. We work with the cloud energy. We work with the higher power. We work with compounding. We work with the laws of the world, because guess what? If I actually work alongside the laws of the world and I work alongside the rules that already exist, then my manifestation is going to come very quickly because I have already done my part. My part is to be aware of the laws that exist, to understand exactly what my desire is, to be certain in it, and take steps every day to show myself that I actually did decide this was for me. That's it. So it's very simple, but not easy. Anything worth it is very simple. Everything is simple, but not everything is easy. So the steps are very simple. You have to be decided. But you have to understand that there's nobody else that's going to decide for you. If you want the certain husband that you want, then decide that. If you want the certain amount of money you want, then decide that. If you want the certain amount of business or views or whatever that you want, decide that. But the other thing is that once you start to get your desire, you're like, I don't really want this anymore. Because your goal was bad to begin with. So you see how most of the stuff that when you don't get your desire, most of it relates back to not having a proper goal in the first place, not having a proper desire in the first place, not having proper certainty in the first place. That's where all of it's stemming from. So if you can actually get your goal to be proper, like if you want to make money, stop chasing views, stop chasing followers, stop chasing subscribers, stop chasing these numbers on a screen because they have nothing to do with actually making money. I make more money on my social media than people who have more followers than me. It has nothing to do with followers. Like when I started my business, I was like, I'm absolutely certain that followers have nothing to do with it because one, I have 3,000 followers on TikTok now. At this moment, 3,100 or something like that. Like basically 3,100 basically. And I think to myself all the time, like 3,100 people, if each one of them were clients, I wouldn't even be able to take all of them. So I'm in abundance of clients right now. So I'm not even chasing clients. I'm not looking for clients because I know that I've already decided that I'm going to make money without a large following. I don't need a large following. That's like not part of the deal. So I've already decided that that isn't part of what I need, and therefore it's not part of what I look for now. So I don't have to look for that. And understanding that you have a role to play. Like when it comes to making money, the algorithm is going to do the work to find your clients. God is going to shift around money to make it all make sense. He's going to compound your money. He's going to do all the hard work that we can't carry because we're not supposed to carry it. It's just stupid. So just take your responsibility is to take a good look at what you actually want and then decide that you want it. Because when you decide that when I was commenting on that girl's page, I was gonna also tell my story a little bit, but I decided to save it, and I'll say it now. That 2.5 year manifestation collapsed into 9 days, and I got my manifestation. This week, 2.5 years of, oh, well, I want this thing, being uncertain, so I'm getting uncertain results. Uncertain, very uncertain, getting uncertain results. Not understanding, not really, going back and forth, not deciding, never really decided, so I'm not making the decisions I'm supposed to. Back and forth is so easy to fall off. And then guess what? As soon as I decided, 9 days of certainty brought me my manifestation. And this is the biggest manifestation yet of my life. Some people are like, oh, it's the biggest moment of my life. No, this is actually the biggest manifestation I've had thus far. So I just want to say that if you're a person and you're like, well, how do I get my manifestations? Are you clear on what you want? Are you certain on what you want? Are you like absolutely not going to take any substitutions and you're going to look at your 3D as if it's just pixels in front of you until you see exactly what you want? That's the amount of certainty that you need to have and that I want you to have. So if you're having a hard time staying in that frequency, go to Money Consciousness Community and read the posts that I have on there, because those posts are going to keep you in a very high frequency, the frequency that I'm on, which is why I have a mentor, because I want to stay on a higher frequency. I can't just be at this high frequency and think that I'm going to be here forever. I need to continuously be up leveling it so that I can take my clients with me. As people work with me over time, they're literally getting the byproduct of the tens of thousands of dollars I'm also spending on my inner work, and they're just being dragged up with me, right? So that's the whole point of having a mentor, but your mentor has to have a mentor as well. There's different nuances to that, but like you really need to decide, and you really need to make sure that your frequency is high. You need to make sure that you're continuously saturating your brain with the fact of what you want. And even when you look at your life and you're like, oh, such and such and such isn't there, you energetically don't feel anything. You're like, no, but it is. But it is. It is there. It is. It is. It is. It is. Like, and you don't even have to repeat it to yourself that it is. You just know that it is. It just is. This is just what it is. That's just what it is. And that's the type of vibe that you need to be living in every single day. So I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Make sure to join Money Consciousness Community. That's linked in my YouTube homepage. And I will see you guys in my next video.